Welcome back. This episode will be in the style of a 100 Days video with one, let's say, notable difference. Instead of 100 days, we have 20 recordings. Stick around till the end of the episode for an exciting update. Here's the video. We begin today with a strip mining session, mostly because I need blocks to build a mob farm. I made a few buckets, filled them with water, and began towering up. After creating a basic platform, I added the water at the appropriate length, made it symmetrical, and filled out the base floor. I then added walls and torches so mobs wouldn't spawn before I was ready. After filling in the roof, I was out of blocks, so it was back down to the strip mine for a few hours. Once my inventory was full, I resurfaced and found a villager. Wanting to stay on task, I buried him for later. I then created an infinite water source and filled all paths with water. I counted 23 blocks down, which is the perfect amount of fall damage to one-tap most mobs. Then walled it all off and created some space at the ground level. I wanted obsidian for the last 12 blocks, so I broke a nearby portal and repurposed it. Next, chest, hoppers, and half slabs. I knew I would eventually need wool to prevent spiders from clogging the spawner, so I herded some sheep and fed them. I'm a farmer now! Then I chopped some wood for trapdoors and placed them on the bottom floor, but for some reason this blocked the flow of water. I don't actually know why. I don't think this happened in my homeworld, but I did build this all from memory. To combat this, I just added another floor and did it up there. I filled it out again, removed the torches from the inside, and began to hear mobs spawning. I returned to the bottom floor, and lo, it worked! I have a working mob farm. That only took 5 hours. In order to maximize my time at the mob farm, I gathered what I needed to build a sugarcane farm next to it. Unfortunately, I didn't build my bottom platform out enough, and a witch booped me off. But I was at the end of my building materials anyway, so once again I spent another few hours down at the strip club. Strip mine. I returned fully loaded and added more surface area to the farm floor. The next half hour was difficult. I was trying to make repairs on the build, but kept dying and getting frustrated. So I broke out the elytra to take care of business, and nimbly repaired everything. I then collected more wool and expanded my sugarcane farm. With paper and gunpowder now at my disposal, I began building my first fireworks. At the beginning of recording 2, I relocated the villager I had hid in the ground, and I tried to turn him into a Fletcher. Hi. Hello? What the heck? That was weird. This was the beginning of a saga of trees to wood, wood to planks, and planks to sticks that would pretty much last the entire duration of my stay at this location. I put an end chest in the sky base for easy access, and crafted an infinite source of water up there as well. Things are going better today. Then it was back to the mines for another few hours, this time netting enough diamond to craft a pick. Inventory full, it was back up to the sky base to use the materials I just mined. Now that I had paper, I needed to think about leather for books, so I grabbed some cows and fed them. I crafted carpet from wool and climbed up to the spawn area to lay it down. In theory, this prevents spiders from spawning and clogging up the farm with web. No, wait. And then I did it on the bottom level as well. For some reason, it took me a long time to realize that I could use waterfall as a ladder to and from my sky base. I also added another waterfall to the top layer of the farm as well, which was lucky. Since I was growing sugar at the same time I was eliminating mobs, I figured I might as well grow trees also. At this point, my girlfriend came to check on me because I hadn't spoken in several hours.
You're being real quiet.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm. You need to yap more if you're in the recording.
Then it was back to the sheep, back to the mines, and back to expanding the sky base. More trees meant more sticks, meant more emeralds, and at this point I had so much bone meal I could pretty much speed run the whole thing. And while I was optimizing everything, I learned how to speed trade as well. I also added extra storage to hold more sticks for the future. 3 more villagers needed homes, and I was happy to help. Then it was back to the mines again. Inventory full, I returned to the sky base and added yet another layer to the mob farm. Carpet, trapdoors, yada yada. It was time to trade with villagers, so I made a lectern and returned to one of the holes in the ground. No. Yes. I locked in the trade and accidentally wasted a lot of resources by getting 4 Silk Touch books.
Damn it.
I got Smite 4 from a different villager and combined 2 books to get Smite 5. After that, I was blessed with a Fortune 3 trader.
Okay, we got some stuff.
Session 3 started with sugarcane and leather for books, and I noticed I was getting a little too comfortable.
I have completely forgotten that this is 2B2T. I'm just playing Minecraft now.
It took a while, but eventually this villager gave me mending, which was huge. I made a diamond sword and tested it out at the mob farm. Worked like a charm. I added yet another layer to the Colossus in the sky, ran out of blocks, added mending to my pick, went back down to the mine, filled up my inventory, and came back up to the sky base. I fixed up my mending pick with a few eliminations and marveled at the behemoth I had created. I was pretty proud. I had only ever built something like this in creative, and now I had a functional way to get XP, fireworks, and emeralds regularly. Unfortunately, recording 4 was corrupted, but it was a lot of the same. Evidently, I began my enchanting room.
Let's go feed some cows.
After tending to the animals, I checked in at the sky base. I made some more books and bookshelves, then gathered obsidian for an enchanting table. In recording 4, I had also scoped out a new village because I was running out of villagers to trade with. So I went there to make sure they had temporary and safe places to stay, and then returned home to sneeze. I added mending on my diamond axe and repaired it at the mob farm so I could— Damn, that's a lot of sticks! Sorry. The gunpowder and paper was rolling in, so it was now time to start stashing some Duration 3 fireworks. Then books for bookshelves to add to the enchanting room. I added mending on my shoes and learned that some things aren't forever.
Where'd that go? My anvil disappeared. Help.
In recording 6, I was a little paranoid.
This wasn't here before. That's nerve-wracking. Nope. Because if it's trapped, I don't want to deal with it. This is why I need a bed somewhere else, just in case people are starting to find out about this location.
I built a bed in a mountain nearby, and began to realize that my time here had to be temporary.
This one is new too. People know where I am. I gotta get out of here. I don't think those are just coincidences.
Recording 7 was pretty forgettable. Trees, cane, XP, emeralds, protection 3 on a helmet, tended to the carrot farm, efficiency 5 on a book, and then I put it on my pickaxe, which I named Schlorbathor. And that's pretty much it. During the 8th session, I was intent upon completing the enchanting room. I got sidetracked and went down to mine, and I found a huge cave! Being pretty bored of the routine I had above ground, I decided to poke around a bit. When I was done with that, I got back to making bookshelves and enchanted some pants. While out collecting leather, I came across a floating pillager tower. Some of 2B2T's world generation is very jank. I finally got enough bookshelves to finish the enchanting room, and christened it with a pretty spiffy chest piece, to which I added mending, and then I named it Man Boobies. I am a child. I also got a decent pick. I traded with more villagers and got Respiration 3 and Thorns 3. I added Respiration to my helmet and named it Where Is My Scuba Suit, which I'm very proud of. Then added Thorns 3 to the chest piece. I got ADHD again and returned to the mines to leave behind some signs for people to find, should they ever discover this place. I finished off recording 8 by breaking some portals near my base, and then I returned home to grow my fireworks stash. I started 9 in one of my nearby bases, traveled home to trade and found a villager willing to part with sharpness 5, cut down a forest and mowed the lawn, stocked up on sticks, and created another Fletcher because I was tired of waiting for the first one to reset his trades. I crafted more fireworks and found looting 3, and then quickly returned home to add it to my sword. As you can imagine, this greatly enhanced my ability to get gunpowder from the mob farm. I took a second to inspect my gear and admire how far I'd come. Then I tidied up the base a bit and cleaned up my mob farm chests. They were getting clogged much faster now. I grew tired of my daily chores, so I went on an adventure. Found a few more villages and got a closer view of the floating pillager tower. I also found a horse with diamond armor, but lost interest quickly when I realized he was no Michael Phelps. Then I stumbled upon a modest space and poked around a bit. There was nothing of significant value. I did take some crops though, before returning home. Session 10 began with crafting 192 Duration 3 fireworks in one go.
Oh yeah, that feels good. Full restock, let's go.
I then returned to the mines to work on my diamond stores, came back up to trade, mend my pickaxe, and go on an adventure. I found a floating village in the sky.
What is this?
And then showed my girlfriend.
Found a village in the sky. Look at this.
Then I discovered that I could mine a ridiculous amount of wood at an old growth pine tiger. I found another pillager outpost, and it had 2 smithing templates. While I was out adventuring, I had collected some job blocks at random villages. It was my first time using a smithing table, so that was kinda cool.
I've never done this before.
After deciding on the emerald trim, I put it on my shirt and my hat. A wandering trader spawned on my sky base, but he had nothing of value, and I was worried that he might trigger the mobs in my farm. I continued building up my fireworks stash, but I was beginning to notice a very significant flaw in the plan. Choosing not to think about it, I returned home and scored some pretty sweet boots.
Oh, those are better than the ones that I have. Nice.
I ended recording 10 by organizing my ender chest.
I really wish I had a shulker box.
Recording 11 was pretty tame. You hear a lot about lava casting on 2B2T. It's particularly prominent at spawn to make terrain difficult to negotiate for players without gear. Well, I had never made a lava cast before, and I wanted to, so I created a very tall cobblestone pillar in the sky. Huzzah! I then found a sideways boat, looted it, and got 2 more armor trims. On the 12th recording, I took those armor trims that I had found and I put them on my leggings and my boots. It was official. I was blangin'. I transferred my brewing stand to the nearby village to get a cleric, thus creating a way to make emeralds from the rotten flesh that was accumulating from my mob farm. And with 2 Fletchers and a cleric, the emeralds were beginning to stack. A fun fact, which is indicative of the length of my stay at this location, is that I encountered 8 chicken jockeys while using this mob farm.
What's up, dude?
Nothing super eventful happened in recording 13, so I'm just gonna use this time to remind you to drink some water. And subscribe to the channel if you're digging it. Also, we put Thorns 3 on some armor. Session 14 was another shorty, but it brought us Unbreaking 3.
Finally!
Which I immediately added to my pickaxe.
Schlorbathor!
In the 15th recording, we started with a few hours of strip mining, and I think this shot really shows the damage I was capable of doing underground in 20 hours of Minecraft. This one session had netted me almost a stack of diamonds and countless redstone. I was so fed up with the monotony of mining that I converted all the redstone into blocks, and somewhere, on 2B2T, around Z-342,000, there is a giant redstone block tower. Why? I don't know. I think I had lost the plot at this point. Recording 16 started with admiring my accumulating resources.
About halfway there.
Then it was back down to the mines to get more. This was unfortunately a late night mining session after a long day of driving for Uber, so my brain wasn't really working.
No, I'm an idiot.
Rest in peace, Schlorbathor. Thankfully, I had a decent backup in my chest, but I wanted to get back what I had lost, so I rounded up the books I needed and fixed it up.
Alright, we got it back. We kind of rectified that mistake. An annoying one to make, but it's finished now. And finally, I think everything is named.
Nothing truly exciting happened in 17 other than my longest uninterrupted emerald trade, but I am realizing that I've spoken a lot about getting gunpowder for fireworks, and not a whole lot about why. Obviously, fireworks power the elytra, everybody knows this. And on 2B2T, I'm trying to get to and in order to get to it's gonna take a metric butt ton of fireworks. Remember that problem I mentioned earlier? Yeah, I had no idea how I was going to store everything in one ender chest. In recording session 18, I returned to the unpronounceable forest to collect more wood. It was honestly much faster than my bone meal method back home. If you're noticing that the days, or recordings, are getting shorter, they are. That's just what happens when you get older. So, try to fill your life with things that matter.
Run away from the lava! What are you doing?
So this is a strip mine. It's how you get resources and stuff. So I dug all of this.
Interesting.
Session 19 was also corrupted, but it doesn't really matter. What does matter is this. When I lost all my gear to the Piglins in episode 3, I posted about it on YouTube. I didn't really think anything of it. But because of that post, somebody reached out to me on my Discord and offered to help get me back on my feet. I was skeptical of her kindness. This was 2B2T after all. But her messages seemed genuine, and once again I decided to put my faith in humanity. Who knows? If I got lucky, there was a chance of getting some sweet gear out of it. Or, even better, a shulker box for my fireworks. After agreeing on a meeting location with Dead Pixel, I stored my good gear in my strip mine and took the bare minimum amount of supplies that I would need to make the journey. Another concern I had was traveling in the Nether. I hadn't been back there since I'd lost everything. I was nervous, which is evident from my appalling attempts at flying, and squishy, as I had opted not to wear any of my armor. But I traveled the distance without any significant incident and popped out close to an island that would work well as a meeting point. I sent Dead Pixel updated coordinates and waited patiently and apprehensively. When mobs began spawning, I built a hut and tried to think happy thoughts. As I watched the sunrise, I wondered privately if 2B2T would once again provide me with a kind interaction, or if I was in for my first real backstabbing. Now paranoid, I remembered that I had my elytra on, so I stashed it and suited up. But I had no weapons, and I wanted to take out the last few mobs that were unaffected by the sunlight. Dodging a skelly boy, I grabbed some wood for a crafting table and tried building it underwater. But of course, Minecraft had other plans for me. Come on! I may not be great at this game, but my caution does tend to lend itself to security. Grabbing my elytra, I updated Dead Pixel on what happened and then began heading back. I asked her to save my stuff. It wasn't much, but the fact that she did proved to me that I had nothing to worry about. I arrived back at the island, and there she was. And she was true to her word. She hooked it up. Yo. Armor, wings, totems, food, just about everything that would be extremely useful down the road. Dude. But most particularly, she was completely willing to part with 7 shulker boxes. You're too kind. I was ecstatic. So much so that I invited her back to my base. The only real way I knew how to thank her, as she wanted nothing in return for her gifts. Next episode, I'll go more in depth with what she bestowed. It was a lot, and I want to do the thank you justice. Right now, however, I need to show you the treat she had prepared for me when we got down to my strip mine. While I was typing to her in Discord, she slipped me some netherrack and taught me how to upgrade my diamond armor. If I thought I was blangin' before, I had no idea what style was. Wanting to commemorate the moment, I asked her if she would come up to my sky base. I wanted to get a screenshot to remember her by, just in case our paths didn't cross again. It is a bit crazy that this server is known for griefing, chaos, and hackers. I know it's out there. Evil is always lurking in the shadows. But Dead Pixel's kindness gave me new hope. I was going to find my happily ever after on 2B2T. And she had played a crucial role in this journey. Dead Pixel, keep spreading your light in the darkness. You never know who you're helping. Thank you for everything. To the audience, thank you for watching. Before we part ways, I have an update I'd like to share. If you respect the grind and would like to help out, I now have a Patreon. Top link in the description. I want to upload longer videos, like this one, and I want to upload weekly videos. But I do everything myself. Right now, I spend every Monday through Thursday working on content. Editing videos, filming episodes, creating thumbnails, scripting, voiceovers, uploading. It's all me. Then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I'm driving for Uber to support myself. On Patreon, you'll get exclusive access to bonus content I don't upload to YouTube, a podcast, director commentary, and so much more. You'll also get a shout out in future videos. I'm still working out the kinks, so bear with me. If you choose to sign up for a membership, thank you. I really appreciate it. And if you're not in a position to contribute financially, I totally get it. You being here, watching the videos, being a part of this community, and supporting the channel is more than enough. Thanks for letting me yap, and as ever, I'll see you again in 2 weeks with another episode. Bye-bye.